Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for holding this important hearing. Earlier, I was looking at the members in attendance, and I was thinking, save the senator from Florida, I'll bet you Washington ports export product from every single state that was represented here this morning, and from fossil fuel products to agricultural products. We're the second largest port now with the combined Seattle-Tacoma alliance. And so ports are us, and freight movement is critically important for us to keeping our competitive advantage, and it's also very important for us as it relates to the growing market outside the United States. A doubling of the middle class around the globe in the next 15 years is a great economic opportunity for the United States. I do want to make one note, your comments earlier. My viewpoint on the rail car issue is that we should go faster, that the administration should get those new recommendations implemented. I say that because with a 44 times increase in the number of rail cars carrying crude in the last 6 years, my constituents who are now seeing these trains through every major city in our state, just because of the way they enter the state and go out to the refineries, they're literally hitting Spokane, through the Tri-Cities, through Vancouver, up through Tacoma, Seattle, Everett, and then up to the refineries. So these rail cars are going through every major population center. In fact, Seattle is now debating whether they want to make some new requirements, keeping the commuter trains and these rail trains which go into the same tunnels at various points in time, make rules regarding that. So it's a very big issue for us. So I'm anxious for them to act, and just wanted to make that point. But for our panel today, and I would say, Mr. Chairman, I hope that we do play, the Commerce Committee, a very big role in surface transportation issues as that debate happens throughout the Senate and throughout the House. I feel like our committee has some very important role to play on safety and security on those, and so we'll look forward to that. But I wanted to ask our witnesses, again, because freight is so important, Mr. Johnson or Mr. Longro, about implementation of the freight mobility board recommendations, and how we, what would your recommendations be on how we move to get those recommendations adopted by Congress so that we can improve our competitiveness of the infrastructure?
Typically, your ports are going to approach it with their rail partners. So we, in part, for example, at the Port of Miami, we really work closely with Florida East Coast Rail because they are truly our partner. So we're looking for their advice, their input. We have our governmental folk, of course, who work with us on issues here in Washington. But we are concerned in terms of implication of cost, delay. So the big thing for us is making sure that on the regulatory side, that things, obviously don't become over burdensome, but also that there's a focus on really supporting the necessary dollars for the infrastructure. That really is the key for us. And the programs that have happened historically, and Senator Nelson hit on that, the Tiger program was really, really instrumental, in particular for our ports. And there's that linkage between rail. We secured $23 million out of Tiger II for rail. And without that Tiger grant, that project would not have happened. Of course, the state of Florida pumped in $11 million. My private partners from Florida East Coast put in money. So to me, as a former port director, really the focus, the regulatory stuff is very important, but we're really sort of focused on that infrastructure plan and how we make those funding decisions happen. And I think that's true probably for most ports in America.
So getting those recommendations implemented. Mr. Longro?
Yes, ma'am. I think in terms of the partnership that we talked about, certainly the short lines are major partners for the Class I railroads. About 20% of our freight either originates or terminates on a short line. CSX serves 70 East Coast and Gulf ports, and so certainly the ports are big customers and partners for us as well. Certainly the funding on both of those constituents is going to be really important. Our job, by and large, is to work with our customers to develop properties where they can site new rail-served facilities, whether they be at the port or inland ports or simply manufacturing as that comes back on shore, which is a wonderful thing for us. And then to provide great service. And one of the things that certainly was a challenge in 2014 was doing exactly that. We've hired thousands of people that can run trains. We have invested over $1 billion in locomotives, so we believe we have a good line of sight into good service this year. Certainly regulatory certainty is an important thing for us. The balance and the balanced regulation on the economic side will certainly, keep that in balance. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Cantwell.